Right, so this situation has definitely gotten a little bit bigger than Williston, North Dakota. I think I can say that with clarity. So this, but it's gone in a different way because I got out of the city court within a couple of weeks and moved to district court just based on this little one piece of paper that I just checked the boxes on, asking if I want a jury trial or not. And there's a separate piece of paper to request a lawyer, to request a free lawyer, which I'll say in my experience from Williston, North Dakota, I was denied twice by those city judges my free lawyer, and then I got up to district court, and he was like, I would never do that. And I was told by handbill that this judge, Judge Joshua Roosted, was on a board for watching over the jury stuff, and so that was his expertise, and he granted me a free lawyer, a private lawyer too, on top of that, instantly, so that I could fight my charge, which I think was something like resisting arrest. No, yeah, battery to an officer. I don't know. It's expertise. But I had a lawyer. It took. I was fighting it for a little bit. So I used the same strategy, I guess you could say. Okay, I see there's people on. Top of that, I used the same strategy in Williston as I used the same strategy in Natchitoches as I did in Williston. All right, I filled out paperwork as much as I could. Motion to suppress, discovery evidence, motion to I had a lawyer throw the trial, motions here and there for a little bit. So I used the same everything I could up until I got close enough where I felt comfortable, close enough to the trial date, where then I started asking for a lawyer. So I wanted to have this paperwork ready for my lawyer. I didn't want him to have to fill out all this paperwork for me. I'm like, turn off your speaker. Oh, motions here and there. So I used the same everything I could up until I got close enough where I felt. Okay, turn off your speaker. Is the only person who? Oh, Trish said there's an echo. Okay, well, I guess I could have paid attention to that. So this whole time I was talking, I probably couldn't be heard. Man, reverb. So bad. Really, it's still a bad echo? I just turned one off. Desktop audio. I got mic on, and that's all that's on right now, so there shouldn't be an echo anymore. Okay, and I see a thanks, so I'm going to assume, alright, so I guess nothing could be heard, what I just said. That's unfortunate. I was reflecting back on Williston and back on those days of what it was like to defend myself, and it was different. I mean, I started out in city court, like I started in city court in Natchitoches, and then I got this paperwork that said I wanted to transfer. I wanted a jury trial, and since city courts aren't allowed to have jury trials, I checked that box asking for a jury trial, and this is from my arrest in the library in Williston, which I got arrested in the library and in Natchitoches as well. But in Williston, Judge Wilder and Judge Janet something on two separate occasions both denied me of I just ate, so I guess some problems. They both denied me a free lawyer. They said I make too much money, and and I filled out the paperwork while I was in jail with Judge Janet, and then a week later, or a week or two later, I filled out the paperwork with Judge Wilder, and he's like, oh, because I had access to my bank account, and I'm like, okay, here it is, and he's like, oh, it shows that you make even more money. Denied. So I was denied twice. Give people a chance to get in the room? Nah, they'll watch later. What room? Wait, which room? This room? The chat? So needs cleaning up. Louisiana needs cleaning up. Well, so does North Dakota, too. There's a lot of states I've had problems with. But Louisiana is pretty bad, especially Natchitoches. But so I went to the district court with Judge Josh Roosted, and he could hold jury trials, and he gave me a free lawyer, and I don't even recall. I filed a motion demanding a free lawyer, but I didn't fill out any paperwork like in the city courts, and he just instantly approved it. It's like, when in doubt, just approve the free lawyer. Okay, that's Judge Josh Roosted's policy. But he's not the perfect judge. You want to say he's a nice guy, but he did privatize a secret. He made a trial secret for this school teacher who was accused of sexual molestation. Judge Josh Roosted privatized some of the testimony that wasn't even like for kids. It was just testimony from teachers, and they were afraid that they would get backlash for their testimony or something. For adults were afraid of getting backlash for their testimony, so Judge Josh Roosted decided to privatize it, make it a secret confession testimony, and then it was appealed, and the decision, the guilty verdict, which was what resulted, it was vacated. So I don't know. I forget what happened after that. I'd have to look again. But Judge Josh Roosted, he got kind of disciplined there. You can't privatize testimony in your quarters if it's not a child. And that's the big one. If it's not a child, just protecting children. But what excuse does Judge Owsley have for denying? Well, okay, that's not a great segue. But that makes me wonder, like, and that's what gets me to these tweets. All right, I've been throwing some ideas out about this. This has been bothering me a lot, so I'm going to start reading tweets, and let's see. I'll start from the sooner one to the later one, however far I want to go down, and I might have thoughts in between. I was kind of using the Twitter as a guide. Okay, whoops, and my most recent thoughts is that if city judges are illegally withholding lawyers from poor defendants, they are likely also illegally withholding jury trials from us. Now, I'm thinking that since the appeals court agrees that Judge Owsley caused harm to me by denying me my free lawyer at the time, then judges or lawyers and juries go hand in hand. I mean, is a jury trial, a jury of my own peers, a lesser right than a right to an attorney, a right to representation? Is that a lesser right? I don't think so. I think they're equal rights. So if the Third Circuit Court of Appeals in Louisiana says that, well, at least we have to go through the process of approving or disapproving this free lawyer issue. We didn't go through that process, but I mean, still, if there's somebody poor enough to be approved for a free lawyer, then that's a right. I mean, if you can't afford it, then one will be appointed for you. I mean, sure, they don't say in your Miranda rights, uh, you have a right to a jury trial. All right, that's not something the cops promise, but that's Miranda rights stuff. That's a little bit more instant. Okay, imagine a cop also saying you have a right to a lawyer, and if you can't afford one will be appointed for you, and also you have a right to a jury of your peers. Yeah, a cop doesn't really need to read that. I mean, there's more that a cop could read to you about your rights, but they condense it just for like efficiency, I think. They try to make things so efficient with the process from the top to the bottom. Do the bare minimum enough for the cops, like responsibilities with their arresting of you to the judges. Um, but still, that doesn't make the right to a jury any less valuable than the right to a lawyer. Okay, that they're on the same equal plane. So I think it's a stepping stone. If I go through another trial in Natchitoches, then if it's done in a bench trial again with Judge Owsley, I'll just appeal again. Well, you guys are going to give me another $20,000, right? And I'll appeal again and say, hey, if I have a right to a free lawyer, if we got that settled, uh, also I have a right to a free jury. They go hand in hand. Okay, they're equal in our constitutional rights. And I'm pretty sure oh yeah, you see the sharks. I just chose this. I'm in the same room as the video I posted yesterday. But up. Okay, yeah, I think I mean, Cloyd Benjamin has pushed this issue for me to go to the Supreme Court first. All right, he's pushing for a trial, and he was quick to the punch. Um, he got the information at the same time that I did, and I keep doing that. And I made some copies of it for Twitter. Let me just get through these thoughts here. Since the city judges don't respect precedent cases, then they make a bigger case for themselves being removed when they cause harm to defendants. Judge Owsley on camera said, wait a second, where is it? Why is it follow? Oh, it's on the top. Okay. Yeah, so Judge Owsley doesn't follow precedent. Well, that means that he's got to be removed. He's not going to change. He's clearly said he won't change because of precedent. He's still going to deny lawyers. If he's going to still do that, he's got to go. I mean, that's the only logical conclusion you can make. He said, I don't follow precedent. And I said, this, there's other case, on the day of my trial, right before the trial began, I gave a statement saying that there's other cases that support, my innocence about ID showing and all that. And I said they set the precedent. And he's like, after I had what I had to say, he said, I don't care about precedent. Well, now he's created his own precedent, and yet he's not going to follow it. And he doesn't expect other judges to follow his precedent. So other judges and other city judges, there's kind of a difference between city judges and district judges. Other city judges are not going to follow this precedent because they all may have the same attitude as Judge Ousley. It comes down to an individual level. Each individual has to take it up to the Supreme Court, apparently, and pay $20,000 each time. All these poor people are required to pay $20,000 to individually. If they can't afford a lawyer, they have to go to the appeals court and somehow find $20,000 to appeal that. It's incredible the what they have set up, and a lot of people have argued that. Oh, thank you, tree hugging Buddhist. I appreciate that. And I do continue to travel until there's any date set for this. What was I going to say now? The cases, precedents, judges set precedent for... Judges don't set precedent for each other. Judges don't set precedent for themselves. They don't care. It's all a clean... Every day is a clean slate for these guys. So the best way to handle them is you got to remove them. I mean, I think that's what they're saying. Pretty much, he's saying, I don't set precedents. The only way you're going to get this court to change is by removing me. All right, that sets the precedent. Is removing the judge and getting someone else in there. I got to get another judge. All right, and this is a new one for me. I mean, he's so limited in his jurisdiction that he can't appoint lawyers even. He can't have a jury trial, and he can't appoint lawyers. And I learned this the hard way by sitting in jail 26 days as a lesson and almost getting into fights with people in jail and having such a terrible diet of bologna and cookies every day. Sitting and thinking about it, suffering, learning that hard lesson that a city judge is their jurisdiction so limited that they can't even appoint a lawyer. They can't even choose a lawyer. They can't have a jury trial. They can't do this or that. But they got full access to the sentencing guidelines, and he could sentence you the full amount, 0 to 6 months. If a city judge should be limited to half that or a fraction of that. For the other judges, they could, the guidelines say 0 to 6 months. This judge, since he's so limited in the processing of whatever charges they got up against you or me, their sentencing guidelines should be a separate issue. They got their smaller jurisdictions, and they operate in their own way with that. Then after they find you guilty, they can sentence you to the maximum potential, 0 to 6. It should be more like 0 to 2. A city judge shouldn't even be allowed to sentence you to jail for anything. Okay. Figure out your audio setup. Well, I got this mic here. What's the problem? I'm not blowing into it. So it's just incredible how that it's not a complete limited jurisdiction for these judges. He's limited in the processing. So I go in and I'm treated as though I have a traffic ticket. And it's like, if I got a jaywalking ticket and I raised a ruckus, telling everybody about it, go on social media about it, and then people contact the judge on my behalf, then the judge gets mad at me for other people, for other people, like just raising a dispute against my jaywalking ticket, he could actually sentence me to jail, I think. Because I got jail because of you guys. Okay, I got 30 days of jail because of you guys. That seemed to have been his primary sentencing speech, and it's like another charge. And I wonder, could he do that? Could he sentence me to 30 days in jail for jaywalking because I went to social media and a group of people contacted him and whatever the cops and whoever else, addressing their grievances about my jaywalking ticket? What could he do that? Could he sentence me to 30 jails because these other people? It sounds like another charge to me. So it's strange how that works. But these city judges should not, if since they can't appoint a lawyer, they can't give you a jury trial, yet they got the full access to sentencing guidelines where they can sentence you to jail. I mean, they're limited before your trial, in pre-trial, all these limitations, these unfortunate city judges struggling within their means, like me living in my car, with living on the bare necessities, and then after the conviction, they can just go full throttle on their sentencing guidelines, and it's incredible that it's not followed through on limitations from beginning to end. So it's just, I mean, something needs to change with the city judges, um, city judges courtesy, or however you say it. History, work, future, following cases from UK. Somebody's in India. I just started watching multiple echo feedbacks. When you just start watching, yes. Van cops are always on RVs. Yeah, I think I might be a bigger target in a bigger vehicle. So, this Lubus says, fight this as far as you can. We will support you as much as we can. Okay, I thank you, Lubus. But really, I think the money probably should go to the GoFundMe, the Heinz Travesty GoFundMe. Pig Trader Robert Parker might still be on. He knows the link. That might be the better. But I appreciate you giving directly to me. Pig Trader's actually watching that very closely, so he's probably going to be like, if I owe money, I'm going to owe money. I'm looking at another trial. He's probably going to ask me to pay into the GoFundMe because I'm getting direct donations as a result. Let's see, okay, hard to find moving vehicles. All right, so I read the second Twitter tweet. Let's see, withhold. Okay, they don't respect precedent. It's just, and if they don't, that makes a harder case for him to be removed. I would want to go back as an argument. Look at my transcripts at that point where Judge Halsey said he doesn't follow precedent, and use that against him. All right, anything you say can and will be used against you, and do that. That just, it's like he's not going to change. He's saying, even though the appeals court handed down this decision saying that he harmed me, they don't make him sign anything. I don't know. There doesn't seem to be anything that happens. It's just kind of, yeah, this judge harms defendants. Let's put the defendant through another trial with the same judge. I mean, there's got to be a little bit more going on with that. Some kind of a record made. I mean, just the decision alone isn't enough from the Court of Appeals. Oh, I said let's make the homeless guy a little extra homeless. All right, I've been keeping track on Twitter on a daily basis with my days that I wait for things, and I didn't start that until the IBM Park issue where I got trespassed for 300 for a year. And it's like that happened to me about in 2015 in Umpqua, uh, Umpqua, not Washington. I don't know why I can't think of the state below Washington. Around Umpqua and then the state below Washington, Oregon. Umpqua, Oregon. The librarians were called that I was live streaming and that I posted a video of them as I was at the library. So they called the cops, and the cops trespassed me for a year. I could have, and that was 2015. I could have done a countdown then, waiting until until that 1 year trespass limit was lifted. You know what I should do is probably keep better track of my lifetime bans too, from Coquille, Oregon's library, and from the Natchitoches library for life. Maybe I could put a little blurb. Today I am still banned from these libraries for life, and just post that every day, because I check Twitter every day, and it's kind of just something. I like the countdowns better. I can't really count down my life. I don't know. If I knew when I was gonna die, then I would be able to keep track numerically. But instead, all I can say is I'm banned for life, which is it's an indefinite period of time to keep track of. So that's something I like to keep track of for fun. I'm sure they had fun banning me for life, banning me for certain times. Judge Owsley intentionally harmed me, just like he claimed I'm intentionally suspicious. See, that's the thing. They manifest their own behaviors on you. You find out a lot about their personalities by how they accuse you of being a certain way. It's just incredible. Sometimes when they look at you, they think they see a mirror, and they're talking to themselves. They're giving themselves a self-talk. And he's saying that I was intentionally suspicious. Well, look what they're intentionally doing: railroading me in their clown courts. You should make a shirt with a list and dates. Yeah, I am banned for life from the Williston Library, from the Natchitoches Library, and I think there is another one. I can't quite remember the exact. But yeah, I can make a shirt. Let's see. File a complaint against the judge. I need to do something. This is a valid complaint. I got the appeals court saying clearly that he harmed me. Harming is prejudice. All right. I think that's clear prejudice. Judge Elsie says, "Oh, I can't be prejudiced if he files these paperworks with his motions paperworks. I can't be prejudiced by that." Well, you certainly have been prejudiced with harming me. All right, this wasn't the appeals court didn't say this was not a harmful thing. They said it was harmful. Okay, that harmful is a direct prejudice. All right, it directly affected my trial, my criminal trial, in a harmful way. That he caused prejudice, and it couldn't be. I didn't. I tried to argue for the free lawyer. I tried to make him see that it's my right and all this, but still, even on my disputes, even on my own objections, he still went forward with this whole charade to harm me, to make me sit in jail for 30 days. His intention was 30 days. And then more time for my voice recorder after that. I get out, and then he puts me on the what is that called? The courts. He puts me on a trial contempt. He puts me on a contempt of court trial, and then another 30 days after that. Make me sit in jail an extra long time. But then after my appeal, he lost partial jurisdiction. He didn't get enough jurisdiction to be able to put me in contempt of court over my voice recorder, but he could still harass me about $411 that I owe, which from what I understand now, I owe nothing to him. I don't owe him 4 more days in jail. I don't owe him $411. It's all like stopped. That all has ended. But I mean, the appeals court said that this is a charge that still remains live. They didn't end it on their end. They just said that I was denied a free lawyer, so that was the only problem with this, which is harmful. And now the prosecutor wants to take it upon himself. He acted quickly, and then filed this paperwork that I put onto my Twitter. Prosecutor, and that's okay. That's the second. Let me go to the first one. And I tap it and it gets bigger. How does that look? Maybe slide it over a little bit. Okay. All right. So he instantly took it upon himself to get this going again. All right. I was thinking about trying to ask the prosecutor what he wanted to do. We didn't need to say a thing. The appeals court sent out their decision to me and the prosecutor and Judge Owsley. They sent it out to 3 of us, and then within days, within just a couple of days, Prosecutor Benjamin jumps on this. We vacated the whole trial was vacated, and now he's asking. Okay, and he didn't mention the move this court. The state of Louisiana move this court to set a date for a new trial. I don't know how it works. I was under the impression that I'd have to go through an arraignment again, but this is not an arraignment. All right, he's just trying to set matters for trial. This is skipped arraignment. I've apparently pled not guilty already. He's assuming I've pled not guilty. We've skipped discovery process. He wants to skip discovery process. He wants to skip it all. All right, all arguments in between now and another trial. So the way that the prosecutor looks at this, it's like everything is already in place. There's nothing to discuss between now and a new trial. He just wants to go straight to a new trial. There's no plea bargaining. It's all like we've already. It's like the appeals court was the last hearing, and now the next step is trial again. It's like that's how it flows with this guy. It's incredible. That's how he's taking it. And so I ask, what is the proper procedure? Is he following the proper procedure? Just skipping to trial? Is that how the procedure goes? In the prosecutor's case, is he taking a guess at how this goes? Because he's not making any reference to how the proper court procedure does go. He's just requesting a trial. That's it. He's just jumping into that. Maybe he's just, he wings it, and that seems to be what he does a lot with truth, is he wings the truth. He's thinking, well, prove me wrong. If I'm wrong, strike me down. If I'm wrong, may God strike me down with lightning. it's he's doing the YOLO approach to prosecuting in a lot of ways, with the lies and the deceits, and then the skipping of procedure, and skipping procedure, working around other procedures. He's asking God every time he's at work. He's asking God, if I'm wrong, strike me down with lightning. That's he challenges that, because that's his only fear. He's not afraid of repercussions for doing the wrong thing. All right, that's the only fear that judges and, well, police in a lot of ways, that these prosecutors, that's the only fear they have, is of God striking them down for being wrong. They don't have to worry about public backlash. We're at a loss for being able to dispute their actions, right? There's no whatever they call it, the certain protections that the cops have. So it's incredible. And, he's got another. It's just 2 pieces of paper. I took a picture of both. See, so okay, I want to X out, and the other one was for the city judge to sign. Let's see how that looks. Okay, yeah, it's a little big. I can shrink it though. All right. Oh, what's that? No, that was not it. But you see, there's no city judge. There's no city judge in the mentions. It's just kind of city court judge. He can't even. And I think maybe that's how the prosecutor works, is that he kind of leaves things open-ended in a lot of ways. He's likely sent this. I mean, he's in the city of Natchitoches. There's only one city court judge, so he's just kind of likely sent this order straight to them. I mean, the assumptions are there. He's not sending it to any other city judge. So, it's pretty straightforward. So this matter be fixed on the trial docket. All right. And then is sent to, well, I thought it was amusing to see that he sent it to Washington. Well, okay, this isn't being sent yet. The city judge would sign it, and then he would serve it to the district attorney, to me, and my lawyer. All right, and yeah, the district attorney, Cloyd Benjamin, put in 1, 2, 3, those addresses. He couldn't fill out who the city judge was, but he could certainly take the time to put in who this needs to be served to. And I find it amusing that we got the city of Natchitoches pursuing me in Washington. They're willing to extend far outside their jurisdiction to try to reach me, to get me to come back. On the other side of the country, sending it to that address and expecting some results. It's like California threatening New York or something. You come over here, New Yorkers, and let's discuss your problems with us. All right, we're issuing you a formal invitation to come over to us, all the way over to us, to discuss your problems with us. All right, but see, that's not a strong. That's not something that you take very seriously. It's not something that when you're so far away, how seriously do you take it? These people trying to entice you to come over into their territory and fight them. Well, by itself, it doesn't look that strong to me. But I have also a bond, that $1,500 bond. And from what I understand, this bond ended. It ended when the decision was vacated. Okay, so that bond is freed up as far as I understand. The prosecutor didn't mention the bonds. All right, he just wants to get into court as soon as possible. Well, the bond is kind of separate. All right, as far as I understand, since Judge Owsley didn't care about the bond, all right, it seemed to have been outside his jurisdiction. He didn't ask, do you want to go back to jail and serve those last 4 days, Travis? No, all Judge Owsley cared about was asking, do you want to pay that $411, Travis? If not, give me a good reason why you don't want to pay. All right? That was all he cared about. That seemed to be the only. His jurisdiction's so limited. Sometimes it's even hard to tell where the limitation is until you learn the hard way, until he shows what's important to him. The jurisdictions that are important to him are the ones that make him more money. But it seems that the jurisdiction for my bond fell into the appeals court, right? The appeals court released my bond. Okay, they vacated my sentence. So, I mean, without dispute, as far as I understand, I should be able to get that money back. I mean, that's what I don't understand. That's what I'd like to jump on right away. Because as far as I believe, that they're holding on to $1,500. That's the tie. That's what's tying me to Natchitoches still, is a $1,500 and their charge. Whatever the charge. If I didn't have this bond to go pick up, okay, this $1,500, because no bondsman was going to bond me out. This took money from a private individual, all right, to get. No, I mean, I contacted all the bondsmen I could. I'm sure other people contacted all the bondsmen they could on my behalf, and nobody would take it. So we had to become bondsmen ourselves and pay the full amount that Judge Owsley asked for. And in his limited jurisdiction, he can ask the full bond amount for charges. Okay, a district court judge could cite $1,500 for resisting arrest, failure to ID, and the city judge can ask the same amount. All right, they need to be limited. The city judges should not have full access to asking for the same amount of bond as a district judge, just like the city judge should not be able to follow the full sentencing guidelines like a district judge as well. It needs to be from beginning to end, all the way through a full limitation on their jurisdiction. But I had to do the private routes for this $1,500, and with the bonds, it's I think it's released. I would almost be interested in asking the appeals court to sign an order to release the bond. Okay. What other? Do I ask Judge Owsley to release the bond? I'm thinking he probably won't. But I'm thinking he doesn't have jurisdiction over that bond. All right. Or do I assume that the order is made when the appeals court says you follow the procedure based on our ruling? That should also encompass that the bond is released. You follow the procedure properly based upon their ruling, and you see that the sentence was quashed. So that bond is released now. And it should be a separate item. If you want to put me on another bond for trial, then you start a new bond. All right, I'm thinking. I don't know quite the procedure that's going into this. The bonds, yeah, bondsperson would know. The bondsperson gets the money, not you. No, the bondsperson is a private individual, not a bondsperson. We'll call the private individual a bondsperson, but they're really not a certified bondsman. It's a cash. Oh, it's a cash bail. Oh, I was calling it the wrong thing. Yeah, that cash bail is released to be picked up, I think, immediately. And if the city judge wants to dispute that, if the prosecutor wants to dispute the cash bail, saying that actually should not be released, then they're fighting. They're not fighting me. They're fighting the appeals courts. All right, I would turn the prosecutor against the appeals courts and ask the appeals court what their response would be if they wanted to tie up that money. I think it's a separate issue. I think I'd have to pay separately. I paid separately twice now. When I first got arrested and got bonded out with that one bonds guy, an actual professional bonds guy, took $220 cash from me, and I never saw that back. And then the second time, getting bonded out or cash bailed out based on my appeal. 2 times I've been bonded out for the same offense, and because now we've reached a new chapter, this is entering a third bonds territory. Okay, we got to take care of, I guess the contract. I signed a contract. I need to look at this contract actually. I didn't read the contract before I got into this. So call a senator in Louisiana. Okay, so I went over that. Had some thoughts about that. Judge obviously harms everyone, so that makes it okay. I was just kind of making random thoughts. Every single person who violates the law is at risk of going to jail. So if you get a jaywalking charge, when you go into court, you're facing contempt of court problems potentially, and a lot of people don't know how to conduct themselves in court and can easily get contempt of court for just a jaywalking charge. So a lawyer should be very much readily at hand for any kind of criminal charge, because like in my case, it's the criminal charge of failure to ID is turned into a lot more than that Judge Owsley could use for sentencing. Judge Owsley could find me in contempt of court, and he tried one time, and he's going to try again another. That's one way of trying to throw me in jail, based, outside of the actual criminal charge, just being in the courtroom. That gives him jurisdiction to do this. Contempt of court, and then if you're found guilty, the sentencing, he can throw additional, like practically additional charges without calling them charges, without having evidence. Where was your evidence, Judge Owsley? You claim that there's all these people who contacted. What are their names? Where's your evidence of all these people who contacted you? He just kind of threw it in as part of the sentencing. The sentencing doesn't require any proof, because there was nothing proved at the trial about people contacting whoever and whatever, that I was inciting people to contact them. There was no proof brought up at trial, yet somehow Judge Owsley is convinced of other people causing a ruckus, and then putting that into my sentence. And the sentence should be a little bit more logic-based than feelings-based. Okay, I would think, but Judge Owsley has such a limited jurisdiction that he brings, maybe his limited jurisdiction causes him to bring more feelings-based rulings into his into the way he does things, and then that spills over into his sentencing and the sentencing guidelines, and it just gets ugly. How it's unfortunate. And these city courts are non-essential institutions. They can be disbanded. They're formed to just maybe take a little pressure off the district courts, but I mean, once they serve their purpose, if the district courts are not falling behind and they're catching up on their work, you can disband the city courts. All right, they're non-essential. I think they're temporary in a lot of ways. I mean, they should be seen as temporary. The city courts are not completely a permanent establishment for a city. All right, they pick up. They're temporary workers. They pick up the slack of the district courts. But some city courts, they found that they needed to compete to stay alive. To show they needed to prove their worth. That's what temporary workers do. They try to prove their worth by trying to create extra work for themselves to say, hey, look how important we are. You probably shouldn't be abandoning us just yet. We still have so much more work to do here in the city, improving the city, improving the community that we love and cherish. We're so important for the function of it. This is a temporary institution that's trying to prove a permanent worth. And because a lot of city courts last so long, are ingrained in the society. It's just kind of, we assume that they're there. They've always been there. They're always going to be there. There's something in the city that's necessary, right? Well, how will the city move on without the city courts? I have no idea. And Louisiana's gone further with that. These district courts have gotten so overwhelmed by misdemeanor cases that they pass them off to the city judges, and then city judges still work within their limited jurisdictions, but not completely limited jurisdictions. They get full access to a lot of other aspects that are not limited. You shamed his police officers. Yeah, I'm sure they shame themselves. They do it to themselves. You go to Barber? No, who's Barber? The biggest industry prison. Yeah, it's pretty rough in Louisiana. Yeah, I get picked on for talking. All right, I didn't need to say a thing. I could have just stood there silent, and I think the cops would have been probably more confused. Would they have been so quick to arrest me if I maintained a silence? I don't know how that works. Their mind frame. These cops' mind frames are a lot different than a lot of other cops I've dealt with, but they're also similar to the ones that have arrested me in the past too. Let's see. Okay, I'm in Twitter and I'm just kind of going through. Okay, thoughts. Let's see. Now I say this arrest isn't about false information, because Jason Methvin, the prosecutor who stood in for Clyde Benjamin, said that I got arrested for giving false information. So I wanted to just clarify that. And Judge Ousley, in his response, it's actually not providing information. So Judge Ousley is saying that I got arrested, and it's a Fifth Amendment. That's a Fifth Amendment issue. He's saying I wasn't allowed. Judge Ousley believes I'm not allowed to plead the Fifth. Okay, I'm not allowed to enforce my Fourth Amendment rights because I failed to give information to the cops. I got arrested. That's what this is about, and it just totally ignores my civil rights. and it's incredible. And I appreciate that he clarified his his stance on civil rights. There, it's actually not providing information. That's why you're here. And I ask Chief Winters for his first name, and he's like, I don't have to give that. What right are you exercising to not give me that? And yet, Chief Winters is not standing before Judge Owsley on this, is he? I got Chief Winters on camera, refusing to tell me his full name. And yet, I'm the one standing before Judge Owsley over this. And he's grooming his cops. It's like it's not very fair how they operate. It's not fair. I think the Institute of Justice has been contacted multiple times. There are no civil rights can explain. Yeah, Judge Owsley explained his motivations a lot. Maybe I'll make a little YouTube video just highlighting his motivations. All right, things that he says that really reveal how he feels. But really, I'd like to put Judge Owsley past me. I'd like to put him behind me, but I still have to face the guy for another trial potentially. But I mean, first step for me is to get him recused. So there's that. I don't want to deal with this guy. It's like dealing with an abuser. It's like going back to the house I was abused in. Going back to my abuser. He harmed me, and I have to go back to him. I need a restraining order against him. A recusal order, a restraining order, same thing. City judges' jurisdictions are so limited that they think other people decide if the poor are allowed lawyers to defend themselves. Now the public defenders are also a dog pound. I think the judge, the pig trader, the judge is like, he's got some intelligence to him. He explains things and explains things in thorough ways. He could be like a professor. I don't think you'd want to have him take a class with him, though. I think he would steer you wrong. I think a professor who's not going to teach you wholesome things. Yeah, police desire an armed conflict with people, but if people talk about having an armed conflict with police, then we get arrested. Yeah, I think a federal judge would be most appropriate. Thank you, Trish, for visiting. Yeah, I'm interested in a judge. I don't even know if I'm going to go through the process of trying to fill the paperwork out for a public defender. I think maybe just trying to pay for a lawyer for this second time around. And then I'm sure I'll be found guilty again, and then I'll need to raise money for another appeal. And I'll focus that appeal on the jury issue. We get the lawyer issue established, and now let's get the jury issue established. You know, it's $15,000 for the lawyer issue, another $15,000 for the jury issue to get this decided properly, right? It's the city court's got to screw things up so it can, and it's already screwed up. We're not allowed a jury trial for a case where I get thrown in jail on. Well, I mean that could have been an argument to be made with the appeals court the first time around, but we only had so much space on the 50 pages of arguments that were made, and we couldn't quite fit that in there. It's too bad that the appeals court needs to still use paper, because I mean, you could write unlimited amounts on a PDF. You could write unlimited arguments on a PDF, but the appeals court seems to have an issue with that, with non-paper arguments. Arguments look better on paper than the computer screen to them. Yeah, I mean, I'd be very curious to know what the standards are for a free lawyer, just so I understand how that works. I'm up and down with my income. You know, my income is low, extremely low one month, and moderate the next month. It's up and down. You gotta average it out for the year, and even averaged out across the year, it's in poverty level. Just go right for the lawsuits. I don't know how to sue. I mean, who do you? I don't know what lawyers want to or like to sue, because I don't have any physical injuries. These guys have just taken up a lot of my time, um, and they've taken up a lot of my time and resources, uh, and and even if it takes a year to fight this, the courts will still ask. Even though I spent 26 days in jail, the courts will still ask, okay, where are you hurt? it's you could be it's like this low grade inflammation that they discount. You need a broken bone uh, to convince. You need to die. You need to practically die at their hands to convince them that they should be sued. Anything short, and you want something short of death, but not too far short of death, where you just have this low grade inflammation that these city courts are causing on people, causing on me. The Natchitoches City Court is causing me a low grade inflammation that I mean, I suffer, but it's how do I put that on? How do I put that into legal and illegal arguments? Because it comes down to a legal argument. Yeah, I think that Rio, if you've seen Rio Grawl, he should sue over that marijuana arrest, but his case is still going. His case is still active. Yeah, who are the civil rights lawyers in Louisiana? It's probably got to be like a civil rights lawyer outside of Louisiana. There's lawyers that have multiple licenses across different states, and most likely nearby states. Maybe look to Mississippi, maybe look to Texas. See who has who's living on the border and has cross-border license. And why is there only one civil rights lawyer YouTube channel? Why aren't there multiple civil rights lawyer YouTube channels? Only one? Out of all the, he's the only one, and he could just say, "I'm the civil rights lawyer channel." That's it. And I mean, there should be a lot more than just one, in my opinion. I mean, the civil rights lawyer, he's a civil rights lawyer of West Virginia. Where's the civil rights lawyer of Texas or Louisiana or Wisconsin, Minnesota, North Dakota? They could break it down. He's the civil rights lawyer, like he covers the whole country. I don't think so. When you ask him, if you're able to contact him, he'll make it clear that he's limited on his civil rights lawyer stuff on his work. He's limited to just one state. So, there can be other civil rights lawyers, but I mean, that's their choice, and a lot of them are not choosing to make their own channel, to carve their own niche. So that's how this West Virginia civil rights lawyer is able to make his name bigger than his jurisdiction allows. His work resonates across the world, but his jurisdiction is pretty limited to just one state. Yeah, federal civil rights lawyer, and I gotta see, like, I was trying to pay attention to the animals rights group that sued Williston, North Dakota about the pit bull ordinance. Williston made the pit bulls illegal, and there was an animal rights group that sued them, and that's been going on for a couple of years now. I haven't checked that. I've been meaning to look into the progress of that. Is it still active? Has it been settled? Let's see. Do I have anything? So I guess I didn't want to really. I got to get out of here by 1. The library closes at 1. But let me see if there's any other ideas here. Okay, we got that. Okay. All right. I'm going to command every. Oh, that's just. All right. Stupid Third Circuit Appeals Court. Yeah, I find it interesting. I mean, the way the law explains itself, it sounds like you got to reveal yourself, and then tell your name, and the librarian argued that I was hiding behind a plant. Well, when you look at the police body cams, do you see any plants that I could hide behind? All right. And so that's arguments about revealing yourself, as far as I understand. But you see that none of the cops demanded that I reveal myself, and that should be a part of the law. That's a part of the law. If your face is covered, if you're hiding behind something, you have to reveal yourself. How much of yourself do you have to reveal to satisfy the legal standards? Your nose, just reveal your nose and your eyes. Well, what about the Muslim culture, where women are supposed to cover up their faces? Muslims are illegal under this law, if just by way of their culture. So this law is a culture enforcement. It's not a lawful enforcement. It's a culture enforcement. Because it excludes certain cultures, ones that actually cover themselves up. Because so yeah, the hijab. Thank you, Pig Trader. Let's see. Tell the courts I have all rights to that bail money, which it's Pig Traders once again, but I just say it's mine just to simplify it, to simplify the explanation. I have all access. I want to get that as soon as possible. I want them to try to slap my hands as I'm trying to get it. If they're going to try to slap my hands trying to get that $1,500 back, then I want to see how they do it. Will they grab a ruler? Will they hold it? Will they just say I don't get it back at all? I don't know who's got it. I need to look at the contract. That's something I need to do after this. I need to look at that contract. I have a copy of the contract. Just all right. Let's see. I guess I really don't have much else to say. I didn't mean to make this so long. How would Judge Ousley feel if other judges told him that they won't follow his precedent? And I've talked about the precedent thing. He doesn't follow other judges' precedents Does he follow his own now that he's created his own? Will other judges follow his precedents about free lawyers? Based on his attitude, I'm not confident that other city judges will even follow his precedent. They just insult each other. It's like they're just kind of they're running their own rooms and not following precedent. So this Third Circuit Court of Appeals means nothing to him. He he wipes himself with the paper that the Court of Appeals sent back to him. So it's more a matter of not asking him to change a little bit about how he structures his courtroom. It's a matter of removing him to end his reign. All right, he won't change based on the discipline, the disciplining that has come back down. Yeah, I believe that Judge Alsey, since he caused me harm, he's also caused me prejudice. That's my theory. All right, yeah, I think, and then yeah, I didn't look up these judges' names from the Court of Appeals yet. I'm curious about them, but things are, I don't know, I'm just lazy. I think you can motion to reduce something under duress. Let's see, go pick up from the circuit clerk, bring your paper. Good day, you look healthy. Okay. Yeah, there's a baby shark behind me. Yeah, I chose this background just for the fun of it. I don't get many opportunities to use baby sharks as my background. But that's, this is another library, and they actually have a nice meeting room here. And it's a small library. Not all libraries are created equal. These guys didn't call the cops on me either for just walking around and looking, which is pretty nice. It's usually a plus in my book. Yeah, I think I'm just going to stop this then. I just had a little bit to say and I don't really have anything else to add. So, oops, I'm going to